Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Closer.
Literally.
Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house.
Get it together.
Rabbits in the house.
Let's get it together.
Rabbits in the house.
Get it together.
Rabbits in the house.
Come on, get it together.
Rabbits in the house. 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 Rabbits
You
in
better
the
get it
house.
together. We gon' get it together.
Rabbits in the house. Rabbits
Get
in
it
the
together.
house. Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house.
Get it together.
Rabbits in the house. Rabbits
You
in
better
the
get it
house.
together. We gon' get it together.
Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house.
Get together.
Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Closer.
Literally.
Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house.
Let's get it together.
Rabbits in the house.
Get it together.
Rabbits in the house.
Let's get it together.
Rabbits in the house.
Get it together.
Rabbits in the house.
Come on, get it together.
Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house. Rabbits in the house.
Sis is in the house. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Shout out to the chat, shout out to the chat. Are you hear me? Let me make sure I can be heard. I just want to be heard. Shout out to the chat, shout out to the chat. Continuation. It's been a while, but I'm back. I'm back. So shout out to y'all, shout out to the chat. We gotta speed up. We gotta speed up. We gotta catch up. We got Tiffany Henyard, the trustees of Dolton, and we're catching up to present day, but we're all the way in the beginning of her mayorship. So far, they've had a couple meetings, a couple special board meetings. We're at the state where a budget was supposed to be passed and a budget never got passed. Everything that everyone said was going to happen just did not happen. And we're at the point to where they decided that they are going to have a vote on the budget after they have a meeting just going over the budget with the people. That meeting was supposed to take place before the vote. So where we are at. Let me get my dates proper. Let me get the right dates around here. Shout out to chat. Let me get the right dates around here. Hold on. All right. So right now we are at we are going to be at, hold on. Lost myself again. Board meeting. Finance committee meeting. All right. So it's July 26th, 2021. And they're having a Village of Dolton Finance Committee meeting. Jason House is going to be the head of that meeting. The mayor is also going to be there, as well as the rest of the trustees. And they are going to go over the budget line by line. And after this day, they should be able to do a final vote on the budget. So we're going to go through the finance meeting. And after we watch the finance meeting in our next live, we should see a vote on the budget. And that will be taking place on July 31st. So in a couple of days after this. So I'm going to be going through these lives pretty swiftly to catch up. So we're going to be consistent. We are going to be consistent. Good morning to everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So we're not going to waste too much time. We are not going to waste too much time. We're gonna get to it, you know.
Yeah, we will start with the roll call. So the members for the Finance Committee, Trustee House is present, Trustee Brown,
Present.
Trustee Steve,
Present.
3 members present. We have a quorum. Also note we have Mayor Henyard, Clerk Key, Trustee Belcher, Administrator Brown, and Chris, Chris Marabalo. I hope I didn't butcher that too badly.
That's fine.
Okay. And then as well as Derek Blocker for our IT group. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the faith of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, ask everybody to bow their heads for a brief prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, for this meeting, for the minds that are here. We ask that you oversee our board, administrator, and all employees and all those within the Village of Dolton. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so for this one, we have one order of business on here. I think this is something we've been talking about for a little bit over a month now, and there's been several different discussions. It seems like on many items there's some consistency. There are a handful of items that and I guess I say this by way of transparency, a board, I think most board members and the mayor and everybody have talked to each other as well as making sure that the community is aware that we're working diligently to get a budget out there and approved. Our deadline is July 31st, so we do have our budget hearing scheduled for July 31st. A handful of items that
So the budget, the schedule is the July 31st. We've been going through this since June, and they was trying to get it done before July. Actually, we've been discussing this since the end of May, and they were supposed to get it done before July. Now we're well into the middle of July, and they over there like, we got to do it. Deadline is the 31st. So there was a lot of pushbacks and pushbacks and pushbacks. But initially, in the beginning, everybody seemed like there was a sense of urgency to get this physical budget so that things can go through. But there was a lot of delays.
have been raised internally as discussions. So by way of transparency, we want to talk through all of these items as well and get some perspective from all parties included. So having said that, this meeting that we're hosting going through the budget, we will go through the budget highlighting items that may have been of question or concern from anybody that's on the line, and then do a summary once we're done. And this meeting is similar to one that has been held with our administrator, our finance manager, as well as each one of the trustees. But again, by way of transparency, we want to make sure that the community knows how the food is cooked, I guess. So having said that, we're going to start off. The budget is uploaded to vodalton.org. So any residents that would like to follow along with the pages and things that we are talking about is free to take a look at that. I'm going to have a brief pause so that we have Trustee Holmes make sure we have acknowledgement of his appearance. Good evening, Trustee Holmes. How are you, sir?
Good evening, sir. How are you? How's everybody?
Good.
Fantastic. Okay, so we are live right now. We're going through the budget. You came in time. We're going to start with page 1. We will be highlighting items that there have been some discussion or questions. We'll be asking for Chris or maybe our administrator to maybe expound on how the projected amounts were arrived at. And then once we get to the end totals of the budget, we will also ask for a summary. I believe our administrator will give us a summary of the budget and how we arrived at those totals as well. So with that being said, we're going to start with the first page of our budget. The first page includes our projected budget revenues. I'm going to just highlight items that may have a variance or a difference from the previous fiscal year to this fiscal year. And then ask Chris that he kind of expound on those differences so that way everybody's on the same page how the projection was, how we arrived at that projection. All right, so Chris, are you with me on that?
Okay.
All right, so we're going to start. We'll do the first projected revenue item 01-00311, which is our projected property taxes. So we were showing last year a tax collection of 4.3 million, the projected budget of 4.8 million. Can you kind of expand on how you arrived at that projection, please?
So part of the way you guys pre-COVID would get property taxes is you would get them in March, February, March, April, and July, August, September. Due to COVID, the county has extended the first installment due dates to May 1st. So the real estate taxes you normally would have received in February, March, April, you didn't receive until April, May, June. So the 4.8 that I'm projecting, we are going to be getting part of the monies that we would have got in the prior fiscal year, so in fiscal 21. Then we're going to get the monies we would normally get in August, September, October. And then assuming that the county doesn't extend it again, which I don't anticipate they will, we're also going to be getting another set of distribution of taxes in February, March, April of 22. So actually in this fiscal year, we're probably going to exceed the 4.8 estimate because we are technically going to have 3 sets of distributions of property taxes this year. Does that make sense to everybody?
I follow. Any questions from anyone on the line? Okay, hearing none. The next item we'll be looking at is a little further down, number 01-00-312, home rule sales tax. Looks like prior year, we received 916,000, which was the highest we had received, and we're budgeting 960,000. Can you kind of expand on that, please?
So prior year had the amounts for the previous March and April. So as that was in COVID. So as we are now out of COVID, the accruals have increased the revenues. And we also have that the beginning of last fiscal period was during the shutdown. This revenue stream has been consistently year over year been increasing.
Nightbot says.
So I do anticipate an increase, especially now that we are fully reopened and it has increased.
Okay. Any questions from any board member, anybody online?
What line item is it? I'm looking for along. What line item is that?
All right, first page, line item 01-00-312.
Okay. All right.
Hearing no question, I believe the next item may have a similar description, but
I got one question, trustee.
yes, ma'am.
I'm just making sure that, Chris, you did say that we will exceed the 4.8 for the property taxes.
That's my that's my hope and my expectation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next line item 01-00-313, which is our sales tax. Previous year actual was virtually 2.6 million, and this year we're projecting 2.99 million. I believe that may be similar to the previous line, but can you differentiate home rule sales tax from this sales tax line item and expand on that projection, please?
So it is the same reasoning that as of now that we are fully open, the prior year had the time that was closed down. So that part of it is true. In regards to the sales tax, as to what's the difference between the two, that I'll have to check into the exact difference. These dollar amounts come straight from Illinois Department of Revenue. So I pull my distribution and my projection based on what they tell me you guys received from the Illinois Department of Revenue. They directly deposit the monies into your account.
Okay. Any questions? Anybody on the line?
Question is Trustee Belcher. So based on the sales tax, and you said it's coming directly from Illinois, most of this is after the fact. So the amount that came in 2021 was basically, was that sale revenue from 2020? I mean, yeah, from 2021, because if that's the case, we're projecting, well, you're projecting over, but everything was kind of closed down last year.
So it's a 2-month back period. So the money that you receive in May would be the actual sales that occur in March.
Okay, so you're saying it's a 2-month back period. So monies that came in May, okay, 2 months. So with 2020 being closed down for 9 months of the year, you're still projecting that 2022 will have an increase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. I'm just asking. Thank you.
And why are you basing that projection on?
Because when everyone's shut down, people are there's less shopping. Not that you guys are all opened up. More people are going to go out and actually shop and buy stuff. So as they're more buying stuff, sales taxes go up.
Okay.
Any additional questions?
So what was collected so far? You said payment was made in May, correct?
Yes.
Could I have that amount?
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
It may take more than 1 second. I gotta get into the village server.
Okay.
Chris, do you want to mention that all of us also, the laws have passed where we can collect sales taxes from internet sales? So that's kind of helping to increase those sales taxes.
The way this is going, I'm hoping that everyone on the board would leave this with complete clarity and understanding, and we can get to the next level of where we're supposed to go in this process of governing.
Okay, so my village access isn't working. Give me 1 second.
I mean, if you can't get it tonight, just email me tomorrow. That's fine. I don't want to hold everybody up.
Okay, I'll send you that information tomorrow then.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one on there, 01-00-317, which is the transfer taxes. Like previous year, we collected 297,000. We're projecting 340,000. Can you expand on that projection, please?
That has been consistently increasing over the last few years. And with the housing market expanding, and a lot of people are trying to buy houses, I estimate, because transfer tax is based on the houses sold. So as you guys sell more houses in the village, a lot more taxes are going to come in. Especially since now it's a buyer's or a seller's market.
Okay. Any questions, anybody on the board? Okay. The next one is the utilities tax, 01-00-314. Like prior year, we received 1.5 million. This year, we're projecting 1.6 million.
I estimate as you guys are, as more people, excuse me, as more businesses are opening up and everything, and more utilities are being used, that should increase your overall taxes of what you're going to get. Also included in that is your guys's incentive agreement that you have with one of your larger businesses, in which they provide you a distribution of about 37,000 per quarter. That's included in that amount.
All right, next one on here. Now this one looks like it may have been estimated lower than the previous year. So in case that's some revenue we might be missing, I'm looking at 01-00-341. Looks like previous year it was 2.6 million, and we're budgeting 2.5.
So the governor earlier this year announced that he may be decreasing each municipality's share of state income taxes.
So that's
so because of that, I estimated a decrease in what you guys are going to receive.
Okay.
Did he say how much, or he didn't, the governor?
He has not specified the exact percentage yet. At least not when I looked, the most recent time I looked at it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's all that I had on the first page. Anybody have any additional items before progressing? Hearing none. Move on to the next page, still in revenues. Okay, I'm looking at the business licenses 01-00-323. Like the previous year actual was 84,000. Now we're projection of 270,000. Can you expand on that?
Yes, and I'm going to, most of my explanation is going to relate to some of the other ones.
Okay.
In prior years, someone had changed the coding when the clerks in the payment center accept the payment, they had been charging it to the wrong GL line. So during the end of last year, I met with housing and permits, and I went over each different code as to where was the appropriate GL line. And that was corrected in this one, and to make it reflective of this budget. So moving forward throughout this entire fiscal year, if a business license is taken in, it will properly be charged to business license instead of going to some other account that's incorrect.
Okay. And as you mentioned, that may apply to a couple of different accounts. I'm looking at some that looks like the projections decreased in prior years. That will be the 01-00327, 01-00328. Would those tie into that explanation?
Yes.
Okay, and then the other item I have on this page was maybe more by way of explanation. Looks like it's a new item. the revenue for 01-00375 fire recovery.
So that is an ordinance the village passed earlier in a few years back. I don't remember what year it was, but in which it authorized the billing of fire services. So that is what that revenue stream relates to. When the fire department is called on a service call, or I don't know the proper terminology, but when they're called to assist, that's one of those things that they can charge for, and they'll be collecting through, I think it's through insurance.
Okay. A question: why are we just collecting it now? Is that?
I think now is when when the village had the capability of setting up the infrastructure related to it, because you have to build them, and I think you guys have recently signed into an agreement, or going to be voting on an agreement with Buds to handle that process.
Okay.
Okay. Any additional questions from any board members? Anybody on the line?
What is that? That's zero. What budget number is that?
I'm on page 2 of the budget, 01-00375.
Okay. All right. Yep. I got it.
Anybody have any additional questions on anything that was on page 2? Hearing none. Page 3. I only have 2 items on this page. One of them, 01-00-334, which
They took a roll call earlier. I believe this is the full board. Brittany Norwood is not a part of the finance committee. Hence why you probably don't see Brittany here. So the finance committee meetings, Brittany Norwood is not a part of those. However, she is a trustee. So anytime there's a trustee meeting, you'll see Brittany there. So as far as the finance meeting goes, Ms. Norwood is not on the board of finance.
which is our red light fees. Looks like in years past, we've collected a lot more in red light fees. 1.4 million of 2021, and we're only projecting 500,000. Can you expand on that?
So I always project your red light fees and your municipal collections and local debt recovery low, just because that's always if you guys collect. So I always prefer to err on the side of estimate less, get more than estimate high, and you guys don't get what you estimate. So I always try for those revenues that are really variable as to if you're going to collect those monies. I always try to estimate less on those. And I also estimate the same lessness on the fees to go up that are associated with the revenues.
Okay. Yeah.
City got to get paid.
And so I think that'll be a similar explanation for my next one, which was 01-00357 local debt recovery.
Yep.
Okay. On page 3 of revenues, any board member have any questions? Okay, hearing none. We're going to page 4, and we're still on revenues. Looks like this is the final page of revenue. I did not have any questions on this page. Anybody on the board have any questions on page 4? Okay, hearing no questions, I'm moving to page 5, which is the expense side of it. So on here, we're gonna kind of go, we want to highlight, we want to just talk through some of the things in there. I think a lot of the questions have come up in just in terms of some of the expenses on there. So I'm gonna ask Chris or maybe our administrator just to kind of expand on the position, like in particular the new positions, and then what services they would be providing to the village. I know we had the village administrator position, I think we're all familiar with, and then and 2 executive assistants, which were previously in the budget for previous year. I would say this year we're looking at the human resources. It looks like we have a human resource director and an assistant. So anybody just kind of expand on maybe the difference between those roles, what they'll be doing and what they'll be providing to the community?
Of course, I can expand a little bit on it. For the executive assistant to the mayor, of course, that person would be doing a lot of the things that are currently being kept up by myself and my administrative assistant. All of the letters for the mayor, all of the uh, all of the inquiries she gets from the public, help to organize her schedule, all the things that executive assistants do for an executive would be what the mayor's executive assistant would do. Of course, the administrative assistant for myself is helping me to manage the entire organization from the standpoint of dealing directly with the department heads, my communication with them, helping me with interaction with and communication to outside agencies, and also helping me from the standpoint of doing letters and the like. So all of the things that an administrative assistant would do for a village administrator, which we deal with the outside agencies and also the various uh, 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 and the department heads, of course. We have also included some customer service representatives. Currently, our our virtual intern has put together for us a complaints um, document to track all of the complaints. What we have part-time, what we're looking at doing is having 2 part-time individuals, one for the morning and 2 for the morning and 2 for the afternoon. Currently we have Mr. Larry, who only comes in the afternoon. He's the only customer service person, and he deals with the people that come in the door. What we need is a person that would do what my virtual intern, who her last day is Friday, does. And that is all of the emails, things that we get in through the complaints email, things that we get from social media because people complain over social media, telephone calls that come in, take those, respond to those customers via letter or via email, and then send that information to the various departments, and then follow up with those departments to make sure that they actually got it done, and then follow up with the customer. So we need somebody that manages that, and Larry manage it for the door. Now that would be for the afternoon, so that would be Larry plus 1 person. But we also need 2 people for the morning to do the same thing. A person that deals with the door and the person that would deal with the social media, the complaints that come over, the emails, and deal directly with the department heads and making sure, because that's where we fall short, making sure that things actually got done and that we actually respond to the customers. So that's the total of 4 part-time individuals to handle customer service. Then let's see, there another person, I think that was it from the standpoint of the administrative individuals. Oh, yeah, the grants person, I need to talk about that. The grants person, we really need them to be full-time right now because, for instance, myself and the intern stayed here till 9 o'clock on Friday, trying to log into and upload for a $1 million grant for the village of Dolton. When we got to the time to log in and upload, we found out that the DONS number expired in 2013, which means that the last time we applied for a federal grant directly in Dolton was 2013. Nobody has applied. The DONS number wasn't updated. We could not apply for that $1 million grant, even though we had spent all week getting ready for it.
They must have been rich. They ain't need no money in all these years. Like y'all ain't trying to get no grants, no nothing. Why not? What have they been doing in Dalton that whole time? Man, you ain't trying to listen. The government giving out free money, and you a city, and you need free money. You ain't gonna get that? Why not? Oh, y'all out here wildin'. Dalton been on some bullshit. God damn. Listen, yo, that's crazy.
we need some, and there were class sessions that you could have attended in June in order to learn about how to apply for the grant. We were shooting from the hip trying to answer the questions. We need somebody that can go to those training sessions, understand those grants. I actually signed up to get alerts on all federal grants, but we need someone that when we get those alerts, and I've already received emails every day since I signed up, to look at those grants, see if we qualify.
Bro, they missing out on millions. Millions and millions of dollars. They missing out on it because they incompetent. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like people haven't been doing their job, and people might not be qualified to do their job. Because man, everybody would be fired. If I found out that millions of dollars that we could have get, nobody jumped on it and did what they supposed to do for us to get it, boy, I would be pissed. Yeah. We gotta fix that. Make sure we get all the free money they giving. You crazy.
As opposed to sharing a person with some other agency where they would have to only give us part-time for this year, because so much money is out here. The Pritzker has money, the federal government has money. That's why we saw that $1 million. They're getting ready to pass that $3 trillion infrastructure bill. And we have a lot of infrastructure that needs to be fixed in Dolton. So we really need somebody that not just the village administrator, because we have so many other things that the village administrator has to do, that can totally dedicate their time on getting us grants, especially for the infrastructure to help improve the village. Let's see, is there any other one, Trustee House, that I need to explain?
None from me. Anybody else have any questions on the line?
A question that the human resources person is there in the budget to get them an assistant as well, right?
Yes, there's a human resources director, and then there's an assistant. We have a lot of things going with human resources right now. Of course.
Do they got one person that do like 6 different jobs in this town? Bro, they don't got nobody to do nothing. Yo, it seems like these people don't have nobody to do the job. It's sounding like one person do like 10 jobs around there. Yeah, I hope by 2024, because it's 2021. I hope by 2024 they done got a lot of this stuff together. But as we know, by the time we get to 2024, all this stuff it's a shit show. So it's interesting to see how this shit became a shit show, but it started a shit show. It started a shit show. It just became a worse and worse shit show as time went by. But this whole shit seemed like it started off as a shit show.
Janice is pulled with finance as well as human resources. And yes, I didn't mention the finance director, which is, and I'll go back to the finance director because that's an important person also. But Janice is pulled in a lot of different directions. There's a lot of things occurring in human resources. We have a lot of grievances that occur. We have FMLA. We have people taking time off for different reasons. We have 4 or 5 different contracts that are getting ready to go on in negotiations. And we need to make sure that our HR person is being able to be a part of those negotiations, and also then have that backup director. Now, Trustee Steve, what I expect is that assistant would also assist the finance director, because we don't have in the budget for a finance director to have an assistant, but we would probably need one, but as opposed to getting one for each of them, have that person be able to assist the human resources director and the finance director for starters. But the finance director, I think we all know, and when I give my remarks at the end, the Trustee House, it'll probably be very clear as to why it's so important. The DONS number is one example that would have helped us also, because the finance director would manage those financial things also, making sure that we are getting done. And you'll find in my remarks at the end that there's some ordinances that that's going to bring in us revenue that have been out there for a lot of years that we did not implement, probably because we didn't have a finance director to do so, to make sure that those things were getting done.
That is absurd, bro. What are we talking? Bro, what has been going on in Dolton all those years? My gosh, the whole administration prior could care less about this town, man. This sounds crazy.
Any additional questions from anybody on the board?
I have a question. The Human Resources Director and Assistant and Finance Director, are those salaries already in this budget?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Do
ma'am.
we have someone in place already, or we're thinking of filling these positions?
Well, what is happening is Janet Johnson, who is the Director of Administrative Services, and she's actually kind of serving in both of those roles right now. She will take just one of them.
They literally got people doing multiple jobs.
Which will, her preference is Human Resources Director.
Okay.
So we would actually have to hire a finance director.
So we're hiring a finance director, but that's not in this year's budget?
Finance director is in this year's budget, yes, ma'am.
What are we? You should be listening. Listen, man. Do Kiana be listening?
So we're hiring a finance director, but that's not in this year's budget?
Finance director is in this year's budget, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, finance director was a little further down, I would say, it was page.
Okay. So as far as Janice's assistant, you said that's in the budget as well. Well, we know Janice is already in the budget, so that's a no-brainer. But her assistant, is her assistant as well, is she in the budget? He or she?
That would be the Human Resources Director and Assistant line 01-12-421.
Okay. Okay.
The finance director is in page.
Shout out to you, man. You said shout out to Sis liking this thought-provoking content. Thank you. Shout out to you.
10. So when we get to page 10, I think we may have already covered that item, but.
Okay. Thank you.
Any additional questions?
I think that the clerk can explain to you also about the calls she's getting for that customers from the customers. She was explaining to me how she's getting all those calls, and it's taking up a lot of her time, so that we really need to to relieve all of our. Janice gets a lot of the calls. I get a lot of calls. We need relief and be able to support.
And these are the things.
Evolmy donated $10 through Super Chat. Fire. Sis. Fire. Great. Liking this thought-provoking content.
Oh, great. I don't gotta read it. I thought this was gonna. I thought I had this one silent. So good. I don't gotta read it. I'll be. So any of these come through, I'll let the AI read it. So that works out. Thank you, Volme. I think I might put the other donation in there. I might put the anonymous donation link. I forgot it reads it out on this channel, so that's good. I don't have to read none of them.
For the village.
Mm-hmm. So we do, Dorothy, to back up what you just said, I do receive quite a few calls that are.
Oh, I was also pointing out, when people got multiple jobs to do and one job is becoming overwhelming and it's stopping them from being able to do the other job, you're gonna get a lot of frustrations and attitudes and a lot of disgruntledness. These people need to be alleviated of some of this pressure. My goodness.
So we do, Dorothy, to back up what you just said, Um, I do receive quite a few calls that are pertaining to other departments, other areas. And I do try to assist them because I refuse to have someone tell me that they've been transferred 5 times or no one's picking up. So I make it my responsibility to try to assist them so that they can say they did speak to someone. And those people tend to call me back, or they tell their neighbors, call the clerk, because she does answer her phone. So I do get a lot of calls. And if that's going to relieve me, I'm happy.
I bet you would be. I bet she would be happy. Wouldn't anyone?
Okay. Any additional questions? Hearing none, we'll go to page 6, which like those are standard administrative fee expenses. So I did not have any questions on page 6. Does anybody have any questions on page 6?
Yes, page 6.
Yeah, trustee Belcher.
It says conference educational $30,000 on the last. This is 01-12-563 that was just put in. And then I had a question about another one also. Because this wasn't in the original one that we seen. So this just came about. Can somebody explain what that's for?
That is actually, and the mayor can probably explain that because that's actually for you all, the new trustee, all trustees, mayor.
Yeah, so that's in the budget because as a new elected official, everyone should go and get training. There are several different conferences that's coming up that each trustee should do their research to see which one y'all want to attend, because everyone needs to know their position, know how to be a trustee, and know how the legislative body is set up.
And in my opinion, there's quite a few people on that board that needs to take them classes. That class needs to be mandatory for all of those people on the trustee board. Man, that is a necessity, okay? This shouldn't even be a question. This one right here, this what they trying to do right here. This what she just suggested. We need that. We need that right away. These people need education on their jobs. ASAP.
As it relates to the mayor, the clerk, and the board of trustees. So I think that it was imperative that we added training so everyone can get educated and be on the same level as it relates to government. That's what it's for.
Yeah, she added that to the budget because she realized that some of these people don't know how to do their job and they might need to go to school, go back and get some re-education on how to do their job. Lord of mercy.
And Trustee Belcher, I think you said you had another question.
01-12-550.3. It says fire fee, service fee, $12,000. Third-party vendor will manage the billing and collection process for the percentage of collections.
So that relates directly to the fire recovery revenue that we discussed earlier for fire services. Yep. That's the fees that will be charged by the administrator who's going to handle it on behalf of the village. That's their fee.
So the 200,000 that we had on the original page that was estimated revenue, we're gonna. I just for clarity, we're gonna pay an agency $12,000 to recover some of these funds.
So they are paid based on whatever they recover. So if they collect 200,000 for you guys, they get 12,000. If they only collect 100,000, they'll get 6,000.
Okay, there was just something that came up in this last one that wasn't on our original one, so I had a question about it. Thank you.
Okay. Any additional questions? Page 6. Okay, hearing none. Page 7, which is the media center. Let's see if Trustee Steve has any question about that. Clerk's office. And then, of course, our police department. Looks like we have some new additions there. Any questions from anybody online about those?
No. I do not have any questions for them. I definitely understand it, so I'm okay with it.
Okay. Anybody else online? Any questions? Page 7.
I guess I will say, Allison, you do have a full-time clerk that is included in the budget. I had Chris do that last week. We went over it. You've been asking for help, and I do believe that the Board of Trustees, along with myself, are okay with giving you help in your office. I did start with part-time clerk, and here we are at full-time, but that do mean that that is benefit as well. So I just want to put that out there for the record.
Thank you very much, everyone, Mayor and trustees. I appreciate you guys.
Okay. Any additional questions, comments, page 7? Okay, hearing none, page 8. Looks like we are going, this is more expenses that tied to the police department. So any questions on this page? There's no personnel listed, but we have maintenance, postage, telephones, other items. Any questions, anybody on this page?
You said this is the police department, right?
Yes, sir.
How many more officers are we adding? And how many officers have been added already? How many officers on top of what we've been added? What's been added already and what's going to be added? I see the numbers, but I'm sure there's some more officers I think some more officers have gotten hired over the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So how many more left to hire that we budgeted for?
So we budgeted for 10. I don't know how, I have to count, and I don't have that number in front of me as to how many you guys have already hired of the 10. I can get that information for the board. I don't have that number right in front of me, but I can pull that information and send it out to everyone.
Hey, Chris, just summarily, I guess maybe piggybacking off of Trustee Steve's question, how many new staff in the police department are included?
I just heard 10.
So we've got 10 new officers that are included in the budget. We've got an administrative assistant, 3.
Okay, so he's asking for all the new staff for the police department, period, with all the different positions. Okay.
14 new police department employees are listed in the budget.
Okay.
So the 14 new police department employees, 10 of them are police officers. If I'm understanding correctly, out of the 14, 10 of them would be officers.
Based on my preliminary count.
14 new police officers or just 14 new positions, including the 10 police?
14 new employees are listed.
Including the officers is what.
Okay, so Chris, make sure you break it down so that Trustee Steve understands.
Yeah, he needs some clarity because it seems like what he's saying is 14 positions, 10 of those positions is officer positions. He can give some clarity to make sure that everyone fully understands, but that's what I'm interpreting.
The 14, so that includes part-time, full-time, and also the administrative assistant for the police chief. So can you break it down?
So that's 10 officers, full-time police patrol officers, 1 additional part-time officer, 1 administrative assistant for the chief, and then 1 inspector and corps commander.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going.
May I be recognized?
Yes, sir. Trustee Holmes.
Yeah, how's everyone doing? As you know,
I swear, anytime he about to talk, he about to say something. Like, I really believe we should push forward with this plan because the community needs it, and I really think that the community would benefit from this. The way things has been going, I've seen it myself. I went down there, I tested it out, and I really think that we should do. Like, I don't know, man.
I'm going.
May I be recognized?
Yes, sir. Trustee Holmes.
Yeah, how's everyone doing? As with the crime, the Dolton Police Department, and also a lot of the residents and also the board members are keeping their eyes and ears open, and trying to keep the safety first in Dolton. We must, and I say it again, we must have top-notch officers and equipment for our first responders. That's including the fire department, public works, and our police.
This guy make you think the building is on fire. Listen, we have to do. Listen. It's fought for we must. He talk like the building be on fire. He make you get a little worried. Like, wait, what happened? What we got to do?
Department, and also, with the equipment and hiring new officers, we got to have new equipment. You know, they have to get to this crime scene, and they can't be piled on top of each other. So we have to put our public safety first. And I'm not just saying the police department, that's the fire department and public works. We have to look at keeping this village safe, and they're looking at us. They elected us. They want to be safe, and we got to make sure that they are safe, the seniors and the children. So I appreciate the support in trying to get this police department at top notch and to keep our accountability as far as hiring our polices and assistance to the chief. That way we can have the right technology and we can be there on time. I mean, everybody can't be here and there at one time, but if we have those officers and we have the equipment, I mean, up to date equipment, up to date cars, we can work together and be successful in this village as far as public safety. And we can deter this criminals from coming to this village because a lot of them, if they figure out, well, they can't get here anyway, they smart. We have to just be up our game and work together and try to deter them. We don't really want to deter them. We want to stop them, and we want to be proactive where they won't go nowhere else and commit no crime, because we have to be standing up here.
Yo, they probably be like, man, shut up. The rest of the trustees is probably like, man, shut up, man. Like, we don't need no lecture, bro. They over there like, bro, we don't need no lecture, bro.
Here in Dolton and let them know, yeah, that sign mean Dolton. No crime. Police department's not playing, our board not playing, and our community is not playing. So I appreciate you all support.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments? Page 7. Oh, I'm sorry, I was on page 8, so I think we concluded page 8. Moving into page 9, which is our fire department. I think again here we'll have our salaries, fringe benefits, and some expenses. Chris, if you can just maybe highlight how many any new additions to the department.
So we are anticipating 2 new firefighters and promotion to all minimum staffing needs for the rank of captain, lieutenant, and engineers. Now, this budget does not reflect the recent loss that the fire department has experienced, but that employee's salary is still being reflected within this budget.
Okay.
So I did, for the record, Board of Trustees, I did tell Chief McCain that he can hire a third fireman. So that is in the process of getting done now. And then also the new fire engine is included in here as well. So I just wanted you to know that would be a total of 3, but only 2 new hires and then 1 existing. And then the fire engine.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Any
questions? Yes, Mayor. Could you be clear on, you said 2 new hires? I thought it was 3 new hires and 1 current one.
No, it was 2 new hires and then the one that just passed, that he's going to be replaced. So it's two
Okay,
new
so
hires.
the current budget right now, it says 1 current firefighter and 2 new hires. So we're not gonna add a third one since we just lost one?
That's what it's for. It's for the one that we just lost. It's not 3 new hires. A fireman makes over $80,000 plus benefits.
Tiffany, watch your tone, girl. God damn. Tiffany sounds like Belcher. No, that's not that. It's for this. Yo, Tiffany, she already don't like you, Tiffany. Tiffany, she already don't like you, bro. Why? Be nice. Tiffany got an attitude slightly, just a little bit, just a tad. Tensing a little annoyance there. You know the trustees don't like that. So Tiffany, try not to push it, man. You're not being disrespectful, but your tone a little.
So it's 2
Okay,
new
so
hires.
the current one, current one.
No, it was 2 new hires, and then the one that just passed, that he's going to be replaced. So it's 2
Okay,
new
so
hires.
the current budget right now, it says 1 current firefighter and 2 new hires. So we're not gonna add a third one since we just lost one?
That's what it's for. It's for the one that we just lost. It's not 3 new hires. A fireman makes over $80,000 plus benefits. Where are we gonna get the money from?
Well, the 2 was before he passed away. We had already.
It's in the budget. Correct. That's right. And then the one that passed makes 3. So that's 3 firemen total.
Okay, are you looking at where I'm looking at?
I just knew something was gonna come out of this. This ain't serious, but listen, these little things with some catty women, with catty women, little stuff like that is bigger than how we would see it. That little interaction right here is gonna have lasting effects because I already knew, like, once Tiffany said it that way, I already knew Kiana was gone. Kiana wasn't gonna back down. I just knew that. So on both their part, man, they are not backing down, and they're both very petty. So it's like, man.
Correct. That's right. And then the one that passed makes 3. So that's 3 firemen total.
Okay, are you looking at where I'm looking at? I just want clarity because what you're saying and what's on this paper is not the same, or not. I'm not understanding it the same. Currently,
shots fired. Like, listen, it might seem like it's nothing, but trust me, these little things is big deals to these people, man. They're taking shots at each other. Little slick little shots. Little slick little shots. Well, listen, she said, you lying. What I'm seeing here ain't what it say. Listen, man, feisty.
at where I'm looking at, I just want clarity because what you're saying and what's on this paper is not the same, or not. I'm not understanding it the same. Currently, prior to him passing, we were at 1 current firefighter and 2 new firefighters. That's what's written on this budget. He sent the email because we lost a firefighter, which would be still 1 current firefighter and now 3 new firefighters. Are you saying that's not the case?
I'm stating that we're only going to hire 2 new firefighters. So that's 2 new in the budget. And then 1 salary is already in the budget. And we're going to replace the one that passed. So you will get a total of 3 firemen, 2 new hires, and 1 existing budget.
This is a simple case of miscommunication and not even miscommunication, misunderstanding. We need a new fire commissioner or whatever. Doesn't mean we need an additional fire commissioner. We're replacing the one that we had. And it seems like whatever's on the paper is making Ms. Belcher think that they're adding a new one, a new position, a new employee. And And what I'm hearing Tiffany saying is like, one is being replaced. So it's still going to be 3. One is being replaced. And it seems like Ms. Belcher is not seeing that on the paper or is not understanding that that's what she's seeing or something like that. So, hey.
It's already in the budget. And we're going to replace the one that passed. So you will get a total of 3 firemen, 2 new hires, and 1 existing budget.
Okay. Did I answer your question, Trustee Belcher?
It doesn't, but that's fine.
Oh my God. She said it doesn't, but that's fine. What do you mean? What? I'm not now I'm confused. Ms. Belcher, what's the confusion here? What you don't understand, Ms. Belcher? What is wrong? What is not making sense? She said it doesn't, but that's fine.
Okay. Did I answer your question, Trustee Belcher?
It doesn't, but that's fine.
I got a question on, I'm sorry, I know we moved past police. The question I got is, are any of these 10 officers that were hired, are these replacement from retirements, people who retired that were replacing these police officers? I know some of them retired. Are some of these 10 accounted for some people that's retired?
Some of them, yes, are reflecting people who have left from your from staffing levels. Some. I can give you a breakdown of that provide you a more detailed breakdown as to how the overall staffing for patrol worked out after the meeting, or later by the end of the week. I can get you guys that information.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. 2 positive 1, Trustee. I'm going to thank you for backing up to the police. I had a question I was ashamed to ask because I had already passed police, but since you didn't, you brought it back there, I'm going to ask now. On there, we did have 2. Can you expand on the description, because it shows 2 deputy police chiefs? I don't believe the intention is that we have them. I think it has something to do with the current status of somebody on there, but can you elaborate on that?
So one of your current deputy police chiefs, he was injured on the job. So we are required to continue paying him, but you do get a semi-reimbursement of his salary from your insurance carrier. But we are required to keep him on payroll until he can return to work.
Okay, thank you for that. And I want to acknowledge Trustee Norwood joining us. So thank you for joining, Trustee Norwood.
Hello.
And if there are no additional questions on this.
I got another question on the fire department.
Yes, sir.
There was a year or 2 ago, I think when J.B. Pritzker first got elected, we got some money for the capital bill to fix our fire hydrants. I don't know if there's any status. Maybe the village administrator Brown can check on that. But is there any money set aside in this budget to fix the fire hydrants, the stuff that needs to get fixed? Would that be under the fire department, or would that be under public works budget?
So we do have money to fix the fire hydrants, along with the street repairs, which is the resurfaces of the streets, the sidewalks, and the alley program. So all that's combined, and it is with public works.
Okay. And it's like we got approved for some capital money to replace all our fire hydrants a few years ago, but for some reason that money never got rolled out to us. I think we got approved maybe $1.5 million for fire hydrants. From when J.B. Pritzker got in, he was running on capital bills for towns like us. So yeah. It's just a word I'm putting it out there. Maybe if you can check on that and see what's going on with it.
And I'm glad you said that, Trustee Steve. See why we need that full-time grant writer? People got to do checks and balances with what you're stating is money that either is owed to us or that we don't even know about, and we need someone to check on it daily. I do know over in Calumet City, I did talk with Mayor Thaddeus Jones over there, and they pay her $100 and some thousand. No, we can't pay a grant writer that kind of money. But my point is, she's paid on their payroll, and basically she writes grants for them daily. my goal is to do the same here in Dalton, so we could bring the same kind of money that she's bringing to that town to do a lot of projects that we want to do, such as infrastructure, sidewalks, streets, lights, etc. So that's my goal.
Great.
Any additional questions?
I make a comment because I wanted to clarify something with Trustee Belcher, because I think she and the mayor are on the same page, but it was just and maybe Chris can explain it. Trustee Belcher, when it said 1 current firefighter and 2 new firefighters, it's just saying what's included in that line item. So 1 is not new. It's already in the line item. He's already on the payroll. And then 2 new firefighters will be hired. And then the firefighter that passed, he will then someone will be hired to replace him. So that would be 4 total bodies, if you will. 1 current, then 2 new, and then 1 that's passed. So yes, it will be 4 bodies if you look at it that way. So I just wanted to jump in and just kind of clarify that for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator.
You're welcome.
Okay. And if there are no further questions on the fire department, we're going to move along to page 10. Page 10 being no, wait, did I go too far ahead? Yeah, page 10 is the conclusion of the fire department. As the finance department, where we have the finance director, which was mentioned, as well as the beginning of public works. Administrator Browninger, I don't know if you had any further comments you wanted to make about the finance manager. I think we spoke on it earlier, but I wasn't sure if you summarized that the way that you intended. Okay, and maybe we come back to that. We'll start public works as well. Chris, if you can, just a brief summary of similar to how we've done with the other departments, how many new, how the new staff included with public works.
So we're anticipating hiring 3 new laborers and 1 new mechanic. All 3 laborers are budgeted in as CDL license eligible, or CDL license obtained. And then the 1 new driver, or excuse me, mechanic is for the purpose of handling your guys' vehicles. So he's being budgeted at the higher rate, which should handle all of your higher vehicles type things.
Question, you said 3 new laborers, right?
Mm-hmm.
On here, it says 7 new laborers, 1 part-time.
Shout out to Jim's Ivy for that. How you know about this stuff? How you know about this stuff? Thank you, Jim's Ivy. Thank you.
3 mechanics.
I think that 7 is, I think we had 4 existing in our previous budget, and 3 would be something that was not in last year's budget.
Okay, so that gets public works up to minimum staffing.
Yes.
Right?
Assuming no terminations between now and then, or no retirements, no unknown retirements, yes.
Okay. And then within here, I think we have, I heard mention, I think there was some new new equipment, and I heard about a mention of some new street resurfacing and alleys and blocks. So is there anybody like to kind of expand on that within the budget?
So in regards to the new equipment are the various items that the superintendent has requested, some of which, but they are spread over multiple funds. So they are being paid out of MF motor fuel tax, water fund, and the sewer fund, due to the fact that most of the items that Public Works uses, a lot of it can cross over into being used for sewer maintenance, for water main breaks, for street resurfacing, and those types of things. So they're being allocated percentage-wise to each of those funds that I referenced earlier.
Any question, anybody online?
For Public Works?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so for Public Works, I'm just happy to be able to make them whole. They've been short-staffed for years as it related to getting people out to do services for the community, tree trimming, filling holes, potholes. If you come, even on my block, you come on my block, it's like a maze going down the block. So I know a lot of residents have that same issue. That's why I initiated the street resurfacing program, so that if you have a bad street and you're watching this today, please send an email to us so we can add you on the list. I know round one already went out. The Board of Trustees voted to get that taken care of. So August 2nd, you'll see back on the agenda for a final vote, and we will start resurfacing those streets. And then round two, I think, Chris, what was the money? Was it 265? I think 265 was coming in for that, and that'll be round two. So that's what I'm saying. Complete it, send an email, put it in your street, and then also alleys and sidewalks. If you live on a block where everything's messed up, or your child rides up and down the block on their bike and something's lifted from a tree or roots, please add that as well, so that you can be included in this process.
Hold on. Here goes Brittany. Brittany Norwood is on this. So I stand corrected. Here goes Brittany Norwood in this finance meeting. So I know she's not on the finance committee, but I guess she's a part of this finance meeting going over the budget. So I stand corrected as far as this meeting goes. She's here. So to answer the question as to is this the full board, this is the entire board. Brittany Norwood is also present for this meeting, but she's not part of the finance committee. Just want to make sure that's clear. But she just got there. Okay, gotcha. She just got there.
I just want to make sure that everybody understand that. But I'm just so happy that Public Works is going to be happy, because you want employees' morale to go up, so that they can do a great job, because we have all ran on services for community, and that's what we vowed to do, put things in a budget that benefit the community. So thank you again.
Okay. I do want to add one note. All of those items related to the street resurfacing relate to the Rebuild Illinois Capital Grant that the governor issued, which those are fully funded revenue. So whatever expenses that are incurred, there is an equal offsetting revenue to cover that. Because the grant or the bond money that we receive is specifically restricted to only to those types of expenses. So if you guys have 200,000 in street repair, there's 200,000 of equal revenue and cash to cover it.
That's nice. That's nice.
And then another question is, I'm looking for, I know we're purchasing a front loader, right, this time? Am I missing that in the budget somewhere?
So that I don't know which, I don't remember off the top of my head which is the name of each of the vehicles that we are purchasing, but the vehicles are allocated across multiple funds. So the combined total covers a majority of what the superintendent requested.
Okay, I know that was the main thing that he definitely expressed to me, the need for a front loader.
Okay.
One question, Mayor, you said about street repair and alley also?
Yes.
Okay, and what does a resident need to do for the alley? I sent some information over to Superintendent Corral, and we talked about, sent pictures also of an alley that's in dire need of resurfacing. So what is it that the resident needs to do, or even me?
Basically just send an email with that address so they can add it onto the alleys list. So
Okay.
when we get to the alleys, yeah, it'll be added.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it. That's all I got to do. Just send an email and we'll add it onto a list. He's compiling a list of alleys that's in distress now, and then we'll go from the worst to the least as it relates to fixing them.
Okay, thank you. And it goes to the superintendent, correct?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Just kind of maybe ballpark numbers, the resurfacing. What's the average cost? Maybe it's like a street or alley to resurface. I know you mentioned 265 is round two. Like how many people should really expect we'll be able to get to them for that? Would that be like 10 blocks, 15? What does that kind of break down to?
Chris, do you have it in front of you what Ron, the engineer, broke down per street, or maybe Clerk Brown? Do you have that in front of you? 'Cause he just put together.
Now, I'm pulling it now, Mayor.
Okay.
So it was running about 44 to 50,000, trustee. And out of that 760,000, we're going to be able to get 9 streets.
Okay.
9 blocks, yeah. And then that included to fix the sewers as well. So
Yeah.
when they do pull a street up, people will get their sewer system fixed. So that was a plus for us because it was all in one compared to us fixing it. Then you ever see a street just got paved and then they go and tear it up because they got a water main break or issue. So they're gonna fix the issues before they pull the concrete.
So one question, that 9 blocks, is that just for the street surfacing, or what about the alleys? Is there a separate
it's 2
funding
separate
for that or
ones.
no?
It is.
Okay,
It's 2 separate
Okay.
ones. The one we're speaking of now is the one we spoke at the last board meeting, and it cost $765,000. And
Okay.
they went from worst to least as it relates to street repairs.
okay. Now I remember Ron once saying it's $50,000 per block, per street for resurfacing.
Yep, that's what she was just stating. It was like 44 to 50,000 per block, but it
Okay.
includes fixing the sewer as well.
Okay. Sewer repair. Thank you.
You know,
One question, Mayor. So I know, did you just mention this also at the meeting on Thursday? So is this the same funds that you're speaking of?
No, it's 2 separate funds. So I guess when we got to that line item, we was going to break it down. Or I can have Chris break it down for you now if you like.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go there now because we are in public works. So.
Okay, well, Chris, go ahead. You can give a breakdown as related to the alleys, the sidewalks, the different programs that I'm initiating to get fixed for the residents.
So the fees related to the resurfacing, all the stuff that's related to Rebuild Illinois, that is not actually going to be run out of the Public Works Fund or Public Works Department. That will actually go through the Motor Fuel Tax Fund. So because that's where the revenue and the cash is located. Okay. So it's not actually in Public Works. It will be charged in MFT.
And what was that amount again for that motor fuel tax?
So under the Rebuild Illinois grant or bond, whatever the proper terminology is, you guys get a distribution of $254,000 every. So far, we've collected over $700,000, and you've gotten, I think, 4 distributions. So you are scheduled to get 2 more distributions. So that's how much you guys have to spend on those eligible expenditures.
Okay, so we send an extra 254 times 2 with what we already have.
Right.
Thank you.
And the 250, all that money related to it is separately accounted for, and I've been keeping it separated.
Chris, can you double check that? Because I think we only received 3 distributions, 54 times 3 for that 760. And we received 2 last year, 1 this year. Don't we have 1 more coming this year, and then 2 next year? So I believe we have 3 coming, 3 more, 1 more this year and then 2 next year for another 760. Isn't it about a 1.4 million total that we're expecting? If you want to double check your numbers, I just want to be sure.
Yeah, I'll check and I'll let the board, I'll give a breakdown of when we received each distribution and where each one stands.
Okay. Any other questions, board? Okay, hearing none, we're going to page 11, which is the conclusion of Public Works. Says more Public Works expenses. And the next section is the Property Preservation Engineer as well. So on there, I don't see no new salaries. Everything looks consistent with previous years. From my glance, any questions from the board or anybody have any comments? Okay, hearing none, go to page 12, which is additional, like there's the property acquisition program. So say 01-43-830. as legal fees related to housing program. Trustee, can anybody expand on that one, please?
Mary, do you want to explain further on this one, or this is for the housing program, the fees related to that program?
Yeah. What did you want me
Okay,
to
is
explain?
that's the legal fees for block by block? I guess just.
Yep.
Okay, no, that's the explanation. Any question, board? Okay, next section is permits and licenses. I don't think there was anything that was new added on there. And we went down to the housing department as well. I believe all of those were there any new salaries added on housing, or is that all the existing staff that we've had before?
It's all
There is one change. An employee is going from part-time status to full-time status. I think that's the only changes that occurred in this one.
Okay, just by way of differentiation or for everybody's clarity, there are two positions that have a similar title, but they are totally different people. So just want to kind of put it out there. We have a housing manager and one director. Can we kind of somebody kind of differentiate those two positions? Well, I understand that one is Sharon and one is Brian, who I think we put the names to it. We know those are two totally different things they're doing, but upon reading, it may look similar. So I want to make sure we draw that difference. Any questions on this page from anybody? Hearing none, we'll go to page 13. And page 13 will conclude our general fund revenue, and that's what we're going to kind of summarize and wrap up. Well, I'll do two summaries. We'll do a summary of the general fund. The other pages, I'll ask the board if they have a summary of any MFT or TIF funding, and then we'll have our administrator do kind of a overall budget summary. So with that, page 13, any questions on this page from any trustees, board members, anybody on the line in the group? Okay, hearing nothing on there. Now, pages 14 through 23 are our, I will call them special use funds, which is MFT, water fund, things like that. In summary, has anybody looked through there and see any questions they had on those pages? Okay, if I'm moving too fast and we prefer going through those pages, let me know at this time.
I do just want to add one note. Police and fire pension.
Yeah, I was trying to go once, twice, three times really quick, and you caught me. Good job. What you got, Chris?
Police and fire pension, those funds are basically exactly estimated to what you guys will collect. So those are equal offsets. So the expense equal the revenue, because whatever you guys collect is the expense that you guys pay. So those should be zero each time. So they have a net surplus deficit of zero.
Okay, thank you for that. Questions, anybody on the board? Hearing none, okay, I guess in summary, I think one of the major discussion points that I would say has been that this year's budget is $24.2 million, which is more in terms of projected revenues and in spending than we've had in years past. So with that, I think that collectively has been one area that has been a back and forth discussion internally, I guess, amongst everybody on the board. That coupled with the potential that that kind of spending may lead to a property tax raise in the future. So we've had different discussions and debates about that. I've talked some with our Administrator Brown, so I want to kind of let Administrator Brown or maybe Mayor kind of speak to that question, which has been the overall, I would say, cause for debate amongst the board. So, I mean, anybody want to chime in on that or why that?
Okay.
Okay, so um, what Mr. House is expressing is that the major issue that everyone is having is that the budget is based on projected numbers, and because it's projected numbers, they're not sure if some of this stuff would cause issues or not, which I feel is legitimate. But if they understand the projections and stuff, then if this is not their first go around with government and dealing with the finances and projections and stuff like that, then I'm sure they have an understanding of how this stuff's supposed to go. On why we have the finance advisors and those things, the people that do the books and the accounting and all that stuff, so that they could understand how the money works, and you know, hopefully they'll get through this.
Should not be a concern.
Okay, so for the record, I do want to say that I am totally against any property tax increase. Chris never ever stated we was raising any property taxes, so I don't know how any trustee ever went around stating that we was raising taxes. Because as a trustee myself, I always advocated against raising property taxes. I'm always trying to help alleviate some of the pain to the homeowners by bringing them to seminars or taking them through the township, Cook County assessors to get their property taxes lowered. So you hearing it from the mayor, there is no property tax increase. So the levy will stay the same. Nothing is going up. Anything, what was the other question? I just want to try all your questions.
Yeah, so yeah, that was the property taxes, and then the grand total of 24 million is being more in spending than we've done in years past, and just concerns about this budget being more aggressive than years past, and could this be a more conservative budget while still advancing some of the other departments?
Okay, so as you guys just heard, we went through the budget from all our safety point of views, and we are in dire need of everything we asked for. When it comes to public works, they have been underserviced, and you, community resident, you have complained over my 8 years being on this board as relates to we're not picking up the phones, we don't come in a timely manner to address the situation. A tree fall on your house like it did the other day. A lot of the times it stay on there for a week or so. I do know with this new administration that when the tree fell on the house, my administration was out there literally the same day and throughout the night removing trees from people's homes. So I would say the difference now from then and now is that we are more aggressive. You do have a team that is working for the people, and you do have a board of trustees that I feel is working together to have one common goal, one common ground, which is to serve the community, serve the resident. So under my leadership and under my direction, I think the board do see my vision for the village of Dolton. And I do think we all want the same thing, which is services to community. We have increases the police presence here in Dolton. So if you are one of the residents running these stop signs, running these lights, I'm warning you now. Pump the brakes because they will be in full force this weekend and the week after. And I don't want you calling me saying remove a ticket because we will not be doing that. Other ways of revenues too. We used to have several cameras throughout town. I don't know what happened to them. It's only one or two. I won't tell you where they at, but it's in Dolton. And I want you guys to take heed to that because you are running the lights and some are causing accidents. So I would love to put those cameras back up due to the fact that school is about to start. And we want to catch you speeding down all these main streets like 142nd, for instance, Lincoln, Indiana, streets like that. So it was two over in them areas and they're gone now. So board, I am looking to try to put them back.
All right, what I'm hearing is that they're gonna have to do more spending than usual because they're actually gonna be doing more work than the last administrations. They're actually gonna get more things done than the last administration, so they have to actually spend money. The last administration wasn't doing no work. A lot of the years that has passed, it seems like a lot of things wasn't being done. Hence why they wouldn't be spending the money. If they're not doing the work, they won't be spending the money. If the work is being done, then the money would have to be spent.
Lovey, 2 hearts, star donated $5 through Super Chat.
Shout out to Lovey for that super chat. Yeah, if more work is if work is actually being done, then money will have to be spent. So, being that this mayor is ambitious and is trying to actually do some of the things, then money will have to be spent. If they're trying to address the issues that they had, the new equipment and all those things, and they want to make sure that the administration is able to do the work that the other administration wasn't able to do prior, money has to be spent. So I definitely understand that there will be spending. The main question becomes, can we afford it?
Another resource that I did bring to the table, which is the old Village Hall over there. I have a mental health awareness organization that would like to come and rent out the building. I've been talking to them. The negotiated price now is $1,500 for the first 6 months, and then $1,800 thereafter. They want a 3-year lease. That's not in this budget here neither, but I work every day as mayor to bring resources, revenue to the board, to the village, to alleviate some of the expenses that people kind of skeptical of us spending. So all I can say is you have to give it a chance, Board of Trustees, to see where we will go. Y'all do know we came out of pandemic, and everybody know if you go to a restaurant, they are packed. You have wait times of an hour, so people are out. They are spending money. I want the board to see the vision as so and just stick with us, because if something's not right, I am okay with amending a budget or changing it later. But right now, we need all the services that you all just basically agreed on: Public Works, Police Department, Fire Department. Them was the main ones, and those are our services to the town. With that being said, did I answer everything, Trustee House?
I
No,
think
you
that
zoned out.
that's it. I will just one point of clarity because you made the statement in terms of about the property taxes. There was it was communicated differently about the property tax increase. So I appreciate the clarity, but you said that you're not sure where that information came from. In our individual meetings, that statement was that concern was raised, and the statement was that there could be a potential property tax increase. So I think getting clarity on that was essential, but that was not something that was made up. Was not a made up concept. But at the same time, the clarity is what we're looking for right here to move forward. And I think that would summarize my questions or thoughts. I don't know if anybody else has a thought or a question.
Yeah, I wanted Clerk Brown to tell you what she's been doing under my administration, because a lot of times people don't understand what it is she does. This lady works until 9 o'clock at night. Told her she crazy. I'm not coming out of Village Hall at 9 o'clock at night, especially with people jumping out of bushes. So all I'm saying to you is that she actually really do put in the work, put in the time, got a heart for a community, period, no matter where she is. And I just want you guys to hear from her on some things she's been working on under my leadership, because a lot of times people just don't know what people do. So, Clerk Brown, if you will.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Trustee House Chairman and the Board of Trustees. So, as I said at my first, when I gave my first administrative report, that I wanted to look at things that and ordinances that we already have in place and that we're not collecting on, make sure that we're starting to collect on them. We're also looking at how we can reduce expenses. So here's some of the things that we're doing that I feel that should make the board very, very pleased and realize that the things that I'm going to talk about are not even in this budget, but yet we will be implementing them and will give additional revenue that we're not even considering. For instance, first of all, Chris has a very conservative number in for the what's going to be collected by the fire. And I understand budgeting, and I understand Chris he put 200,000 in there, mostly because he's budgeting for let's say if we start August 1st, then there's only 9 months. Because when I had the fire department to do their analysis, looking at 2019 and 2020, there was 300,000 that would have been collected in 2019. There was a 400,000 that would have been collected in 2020. Now that's for a 12-month period. In talking with our people that are going to be administrating our grant, our fund, our collections, they said that most of the time when you start this, because understand that this ordinance has been out there since 2014, and we have not collected almost $500,000 for almost 10 years. So now,
damn,
they can't go back to 2013 and
we have not collected almost $500,000 for over 10 years. What in the world is going on, or was going on, and still is going on in Dolton? This place has been messed up for a long time. This shit is ridiculous.
Find out, and collect that money. But they said that they can go back 12 months. So from whatever month we start, they will go back 12 months and they'll bill insurance companies only, not individuals, but insurance companies. So if someone had an accident and our fire department had to show up and clean up, then that insurance company for those cars will be billed. So that's money that's not in this budget. That could be $500,000. And then added to what Chris has here. Of course, as was said earlier, there will be a small percentage of expense for collecting that they would actually take off. So that could be another, let's say $500,000 that could easily be added, but we did not put it in this budget. Second thing is ProChamps. We already have a contract with ProChamps. We had a meeting. I had brought ProChamps in last week to train our staff on how to better utilize ProChamps. ProChamps is a software and service for collecting the registration fees for foreclosures. They do that, and they have those numbers because they get a report from the court system every month, and they are able to bill foreclosures. But the issue is vacancies. We have a lot of vacancies, probably over 500 vacancies in Dolton, but they have only been collecting for about 10 of them. Now, so because no process was ever put in place to actually identify all of the vacancies. So ProChamps talked to us about getting lists from post offices for properties that keep going back. Post office is supposed to provide that to you, and comparing that also to our utility bills, our water bills that keep coming back, and also sending out our code enforcers, our police officers. In other words, we're going to solidify our vacancy list. That's $400 per unit, and that we should be collecting. And they said that they will collect that from the bank, not from the people that left the property, but as long as that there's a mortgage on that property, they can go directly to the bank and collect that. That could be an additional $200,000. Then our long-term rentals. We want to add to ProChamps.
This is sad. This is sad. All this money that just be left. Nobody's doing their job. Nobody's doing their job.
Contract to have them collect the registration fee for long-term rentals and for the inspection fees. Because right now we collect maybe a third of our long-term rentals based upon a list that we have. And we also are going to be looking at changing the time period in which the rentals are due. We'll be coming to the board with that information later, but that could be another few $100,000, $300,000 or more from just collecting from vacancies, as well as getting up to speed on the long-term rentals and actually collecting for that. Thirdly, I submitted on last week the request to the Secretary of State to get an update of our vehicle stickers. When I had indicated to you all that it was 2017, we hadn't updated our list for vehicle stickers since 2017. Well, after I had the Secretary of State to send me the last letter that came to them to ask them for an update, it's been since 2013. We have not had a good Secretary of State list since 2013, which means the reason why we get a lot of returns is because people either no longer have those cars, but a lot of people are not getting requests to pay vehicle stickers, and they're not coming in. When we get that list, now they're going to be past due, and they'll be paying double of what they should have paid. And according to the ordinance, if they don't pay in a year, they're supposed to actually pay a penalty of $200. So that is going to be an additional, I would say, $200,000 or more from collecting for vehicle stickers. I'm sure I've probably already gone over $1 million. That's not in this budget. Now,
that's a lot of money.
MCOA, our municipal collectors, I met with them. I found out that we have not been submitting our bad debt to them to collect. One thing is water bills. We only submit, and it was a policy, it's not an ordinance, that we only submit shutoffs. So people can go past due, late, forever. As long as they don't get shut off, we never submitted to MCOA. Lately, we haven't submitted shutoffs in a year. Okay, so what we want to do is look at that policy and I looked at the delinquencies. We have almost $2 million in delinquencies that we have not had anybody trying to collect for us. I met with the staff here and I also found out.
This is ridiculous. Not
that there has been a policy that if it's an estimated bills, in other words, nobody lets us in, then if it's an estimated bills for 2 months, then we only bill them at a minimum. Now, there's no incentive for them to ever let us in if we only bill them at a minimum. That is not in the ordinance. That was a policy established by the staff. We are going to be looking at that policy. I think we should be billing them at the maximum, and then they'll let us in to get an estimate, to get an actual reading. So we're going to be looking at how do we change that policy to give people an incentive to let us in the door. If they only get the minimum forever, then they'll never let us in. Also, I'm going to be making sure that we're sending all these late things, rentals and stickers to the collection agency and have them collect those things for us versus just sitting on them. We're also looking at, I talked with the individuals that actually do that our current accounting system, Locus, and then we also talked with Civic System, the new system, and we're looking at putting in place, and they already have it in their system, a payment plan process for people to be able to pay their bills. When people pay on a payment plan, now, in order to have the payment plan, however, they're going to be required to submit to an automatic debit. People can do payment plans and then do not pay, but they're going to be only way you can get on a payment plan is to do automatic debit, and both of these systems, both Locus and Civic Systems, have the automatic debit process. That's going to help our collection process even more. Then I came up with this idea. I would like to start a program where we have auto renewals for certain things, such as business licenses. Why should we have to run around trying to find them, or they have to come here? Give us your debit card and we'll just automatically take that money out every year. And that helps our cash flow, and it helps us. Now, if we have to do an inspection, yes, we'll collect your money and then we'll go out and do our inspection as well. But an auto renewal, I feel, that will help. We can have that for business licenses. We can have that for rentals. Anything that people have to pay on an ongoing basis until they stop that auto renewal, then, and many of you probably have the auto renewal process on some of your accounts. You understand they're going to take that money. That helps our cash flow. Then I had the IT gentleman to talk to both Locus and Civic Systems. We actually did a training with Civic Systems already, the new system, and I'll talk to you all about that the next time I give an administrative report. But we talked to them, and we can have, until we can get digital meters, and we're working on that as well, we can have our residents, as opposed to bringing those yellow cards to the village or mailing them and our staff having to data enter them, we're going to create a process whereby our residents can electronically submit their meter readings. When they electronically submit their meter readings, it cuts down on data entry for our staff, cuts down on the estimated bills, and so people are more likely to pay because they won't get a balloon bill all of a sudden because finally we got a chance to get in and read their meter. Reduction to expenses. I found out that when there's an auto accident that damaged village property, such as knocking down light poles and other village property, we are not getting the insurance information of that automobile so that we as a village could bill that insurance company. We're just paying to get fixed. In talking with the MC and the gentleman from our collection agency, he mentioned this to me. So we're going to put a process in place where I've already talked to the police chief and said, we're on site, we're getting the information, we're doing the police report. We need that police report and that insurance information so the village will not have to pay to get light poles fixed and property village property that has been damaged. Bill those insurance company and reduce the expenditure for the village to actually pay for getting things fixed that someone's car has damaged for us. Then we had Enterprise on recently to talk to you all about the rental. Well, in the process of trying to get them to give us the estimates so they can come back, I had to get all the vehicles list so that we could get mileage. We found out that the list, we have vehicles on the list that we're paying insurance on that are inactive, that are inoperable, that are not even being used. We're going to put a process in place to get those vehicle lists that's going to the insurance. That's going to reduce our insurance expense when we get those lists cleaned up. That will get our vehicle.
What is this? Was this like a Sim City or something? Has a kid been the mayor of this town in a video game and just been experimenting and then forget that he got the game and just don't check on the game and none of the stuff that's supposed to be in order does not go in? Like, what's been going on in this town? This town been messed up, man. This town been, listen to this. What's this? It's like nobody works here. Like, yo, this is crazy.
Cleaned up, reduce our insurance expense. So these are the kind of things that the finance director would find, would make sure of. One of the things also I found out is that what I'm looking at putting in place, and I already had the virtual intern to do, is we need a board item implementation process. We need to make sure that every item that you all pass, that we have a process in place to ensure that that item has been implemented. That there has been a disconnect with that. We were just talking about the code enforcement didn't even know that had passed because no one had actually informed them that had passed. Well, that means that there's a disconnect between what the board is passing. And of course, that was the same thing that happened with the fire department. That's why that had not been implemented. So I am putting in place for every board item, I'm going to ask the clerk we're putting together a spreadsheet to document and pass on to me, to the village administrator, every board item, whether that's a contract, whether that's an ordinance change, whatever the item is, whatever responsible department there is, there will be a process to make sure that those things, the board items, get implemented. And of course, all these accounting type things, we want the finance director is important. I wanted to say because Chris and his team, his accounting firm, they are just responsible for accounting for what we give them. The finance director will be the one that will make sure that our fees are collected, that we implement those things and that sort of thing, and giving the board information concerning the substance of the issues versus just accounting for the numbers, if you will.
I believe that Jason House becomes the finance director eventually or something like that. I'm not sure, but these people got to do their jobs, man.
So these are just, I don't know. I know I threw a lot of stuff out there at you all, and but if there are any questions on anything, I'm open for questions.
The finance director position, will it be posted on the village website?
Mayor?
Yes. Yes, all positions have been posted on village website as it relates to what we're hiring for at this moment. After you guys
Okay.
pass the budget, we'll post anything else that you guys have agreed upon. Right now,
Okay.
there public works on there, so anybody watching can work for PW. The diesel mechanic is on there, clerks is on there. So go on the village website, look at it daily. Because sometimes it get filled and or interviewed for and get filled, and then it get removed.
So the director will be posted shortly, correct?
Yes.
So is the
Thank
budget.
you.
Needed that like yesterday. Yeah.
Thank you.
Problem. Jason, trustee house. Let's see him. See trustee house.
I think we lost.
Let me see if he will pick up or he coming back on or is he gone? Let me try to call him.
Difficulties.
Man, Trustee House, don't tell me you ain't hear all that stuff she said. That would not be good, brother. Trustee House, I hope you ain't miss all that stuff she said, man. Trustee House. Because I started noticing people started disappearing while she was talking. People started disappearing off the screen. Start seeing less and less people. I hope they ain't leave during this good information. Oh, she called him live. Oh. Did it stop ringing? What happened?
So let me just say, probably from what I just talked about, we're looking at like there's almost $2 million in past due water bills that have not been collected.
God damn, and that's just water bills. So $2 million in water bills, $1 million in the other stuff. Like there's millions of dollars outside the budget that they could be getting and utilizing to make the city better. There is millions of dollars outside the budget that they can be utilizing to make the city better. My goodness.
Things I've talked about is probably, if we were actually budgeting, would probably add another $2 or $3 million to your to the revenues of this this budget. So just wanted to close with that.
I just tried to get him. He didn't pick up. I texted him as well.
I wonder if he had an emergency. I would hate to think that he missed all that good information, man.
Don't know where he's at. So we're gonna conclude this meeting. I just want to see did anybody else have anything else to say. I think that Trustee House gave an overview of what he thought. Anybody else got anything else before we conclude the Finance Committee meeting?
I got one question.
Sure.
From a
Steve
resident.
is here.
Why, and maybe this is for Chris, why are residents paying for fire services?
Why are they paying for fire services?
I can answer that. That's not fire services. That's like if people have accidents and the fire department has to come, those kind of things. It's not fire services.
Right.
All right.
Okay. Well, I guess, did anybody else have anything else to say about the budget? I just want to make sure so we have the actual hearing on Saturday that we just move forward as is, because it seems as though all the trustees are in favor of what they just went over. I just want to make
I have one question. It might not be towards that. Chris, I thought we were collecting for those outstanding water accounts. It was in collections. No? Yes?
I know that there are some that I've received notification of collections, but I also know that the collection process, it depends on how much you guys collect. It's in the last year, I haven't seen anything come through for water from a collection standpoint.
Is it possible we should use another service? Or no?
It's just that we hadn't submitted it to them, trustee. It's not that I met with them. It's not.
It's just that we haven't been doing our jobs, trustee. people in their positions haven't been working. That's why. That's pretty much the answer to this question.
Not that they are not collecting. That's why I say we're going to get the process back in place. Here's Trustee House here. Let me just.
Okay.
We're still on.
Any other trustee?
He's having technical issues. Did you want the mayor to close out? We're done. Yes. Thank you. Yes, he said he wants you to close out, Mayor. He's having technical issues. I'm putting on speaker. Trustee?
Well, I got you, Administrator Brown. You said we were not doing it, so the disconnect is on our end and not theirs.
Yes, ma'am. We were not submitting to them.
We're not doing our job.
So that's fine. So that's why I want to put a process in place to submit everything to them so that they are collecting. We're talking about the MCOE firm.
Okay.
House. So did you want to say anything closing?
Okay. All right. I'll back off.
What did he say?
He said he's trying to sign back on.
Okay. Okay, well, while he's trying to sign back on, anybody else? And we can go to, who doing citizens address? Is that Derek? Derek, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, are you ready for citizens address? So we can conclude once we're done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of questions, not necessarily budget item questions.
Okay. If you want, you know me, you can read it to record, and then we will basically get back to them on those. If they want to talk about the budget, we open for the budget currently.
Okay, there's a question of if traffic cameras are put up, why not add timers to them? Cameras.
Oh, go ahead. You done with the question? Go ahead.
Yeah, that was one but they had another question right behind that.
Okay, let me respond to that one then. So as relates to putting cameras up, we did go over it to add the countdown, but we're just waiting on the price for how much more it is. What's the difference? Because I totally agree. When a light front of change and people trying to beat that yellow, even though that means slow down, but people speed up, I want the timers to be there. So that means 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 before you get to that light, before you get flashed.
Okay.
So we are working on it.
Okay, so the next thing after that, they said cameras should be put up for safety and not traps to hurt the people of Dolton.
Well,
yeah, and also as a deterrent to stop people from even thinking about doing some stuff. So I get it. All of the above, I agree. Plus what I just said.
I totally agree. It's just that I try to pre-warn the people that live here. So if you are out of order as relates to traffic violations, I'm telling you now, get your stuff together because you will get a ticket for speeding, running a light, running a stop sign. Because a major problem we got in town, a lot of y'all roll through the stop signs. And you do know law states that you must do a complete stop on all fours, even at the red lights. If you roll through it because the car won't come and you will get a ticket and the ticket is yours, you are liable for it. So I try to educate before we actually get the tickets because it's really for the people that pass through our community. Use the back road to get around to Riverdale or 138, things of that nature. That's what it's for. But unfortunately, some of our people that live here don't follow rules neither, and they get a ticket and then they get mad because we put things in place to try to prevent stuff. So I'm warning you now, if you're doing wrong, stop it because you will get ticketed moving forward.
Okay, next one is let people know when you are coming to read the water meter. We do not know when they are coming. Sometimes by the time seniors get to the door, the reader is already gone.
The plan is to go digital, so we no longer have to ring a bell. We could just be in our car and push a button and all the readings go to a computer. That's the long-term goal, which I'm praying to happen in the next year or two. But I totally agree with you on that. give you time to get out of bed or put your pajamas on before you get to the door. Because half the time they just put the card in the door and walk off. So I agree.
Is the village administrator position posted?
I'm not sure. I rarely go on the village website. It should be posted. If it's not, I did state at the last meeting to post it. So if you are someone that wants to apply, apply.
Why is this meeting being had? No notice has been published in the newspaper.
That's an untrue statement. Notice has been published in newspapers. I have the receipt to prove it. So no one's doing anything wrong. We got 10 days before we actually have an actual hearing. This is a committee meeting, So that means we don't have to publish nothing in the paper for this. But for the hearing, it is published. And it will be this Saturday, I believe. Is it 11 or 10? 11, Clerk?
The public hearing portion is at 11.
11.
And the actual meeting is at 11:30.
So everything's published, everything's done right. T's crossed, I's dotted.
What paper is that, Mayor? So I have it for my notes.
I believe the Chicago Tribune, but I'll find out from the attorney. I don't have it in front of me.
I believe it was the Tribune, Mayor.
Okay. I know it was one of them.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Derek, come on, come on.
She ready to go.
All right. Can the alley between 142nd and Maryland and Drexel on the level evenly? When it rained very hard, it's a pool in the backyard.
Okay, if you would email us that so that it will be on record that you submitted it and it's on the list. So please email it so that the superintendent can come out and assess.
And that as well.
One thing, Mayor, that's the alley I spoke about, so I'll make sure that I do the emailing. And I also have pictures of it, okay?
Okay, all right. Well,
Thanks.
thank you. Did Jason come back? Trustee
Yeah,
House.
I'm back. I'm still having some video issues, but I hope you can hear me audio.
Sure. You want to close out your meeting? I didn't want to. Did you want to close out?
Yes, please. Okay. Yes, please. I'm gonna make a motion that we adjourn at 7:21. Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay. A motion and second.
Oh, damn, Brittany. Damn, it looked like Brittany wanted to say something. A little too late.
Motion. We got this being the committee. It's just Trustee Steve, myself, and
Tammy.
Trustee Brown. So yeah, Trustee Brown for the motion to close.
Aye.
And Trustee Steve.
Aye.
And Trustee ayes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for your time.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Brittany. I know you wanted to say something, but maybe next time. All right. So we got through the finance meeting. We went through the line items of the budget. At this point, the only thing to do now is to just vote on the budget. People got their questions answered. They went through stuff. The only thing to do now is to vote on the budget. And that's what we should see in our next live stream. And that's what I'm expecting to see in our next live stream. So until we meet again, we are going to continue our Tiffany Henyard, Dolton Trustees analyzation. And we'll see, how did we get here? What led to where we are now? How did it become so terrible? I want to thank everybody for watching. We're getting out of here. And I'll see you guys the next time we do this for the continuation. Thank everybody. Have a good day. Take care.